Hi there, this is Rita, and today I'm going to show you how to make a Wonder Clip cushion. This is it right here. It is a little cushion, and you put your clips on here. They're little flaps. That's how the clips stay on here, is with these little flaps. So I'm going to teach you how to make it. It is a really cool, fun project. It goes together super quick as well. So fun to make, easy to do. Use your scraps. Awesome. Okay, so first what we're going to do is, I will put this aside here. First what we're going to do is we need to cut our pieces. So I've already pre-cut them here so that you can easily follow along. This is the back side. So this is the bottom here. It is a 5-inch square, so perfect for your charm pack. If you have some extra pieces from the charm packs from a quilt that you made, this would be a perfect scrap buster for it. So you need one 5-inch square. This is the ends parts here, so the green parts on the top, and these are the front and the back, or the front and the back, and they are 2 inches by 5 inches. You'll need 2 of those, one there, one there. These here are the spacers, so these go in between the flaps. So this is the black part that you see right here. This is the black part. So these are 1 inch by 5 inch, and you'll need 4 of those. So you'll need 1, 2, and 4. This is your flap. So I'm going to make mine out of this polka dot material, and you'll need 5 of these. So they're little flaps like this. They are 2 inches by 4 inches. So these are just a 1 inch shorter because you don't want it to go right to the end on the sides here. You do want to have a little bit of a gap there. So there we go. So okay, so let's get started. We're going to take one of these, and you're going to take it like this, and you're going to fold it in half lengthwise. You are going to stitch. You just need to stitch the end shut here and the end here. I would back stitch because every time I work on a small project and there's little pieces, I always find it's better to back stitch. Then the seam doesn't come undone. It's just more secure. So that's what I do. Okay, and I'm just going to do the other side now. Okay, so now we have stitched these seams here on both sides. This is the folded edge on top and the raw edge on the bottom. I'm going to clip the seam just at an angle right there, and just at an angle right there, because I have to turn this around. I have to turn it inside out. There we go. Or yeah, like this, and then we just, the seams will just sit better. Oh, I'm just going to get my stiletto here, just get anything that'll poke your corners out a little more prominent. There we go. And then you're just going to iron it. You're going to iron it flat. And you're going to do this 5 more times because we've got 5 flaps. So because of movie magic, I have 5 here. So we'll just put these aside, and these are done. So our flaps are done. So now we just need to assemble the top. This is flying by. This is such a quick project. So you want to start with one of the end pieces, and then you're going to put a flap and an in between, and a flap and an in between, another flap. You just keep going. You just keep going doing this here. A flap, in between, a flap, and then an end. And you're going to sew these all together, sandwiching the flaps in between these 2 pieces. You want to sandwich them so that they stick up like this. So I'll show you how it goes here. So I'm going to put the fold down here towards going on the bottom, and I'm just going to eyeball it here. If you really want to be picky, you could definitely like measure it and figure out where the center is. I'm just going to eyeball it here, and then I'm going to put this between piece on top, and as you can see, my flap is sandwiched right in between there. So now I'm going to stitch this seam right here. And I'm going to back stitch as well. Everything is 1/4 of an inch on this project, so everything stitch 1/4 of an inch. Okay, that one's done. There you go, and it looks like that. See, you have that sticking up right there. Now we're just going to keep doing that. We are going to put this one down, the next flap down. Again, the fold goes out, raw edges together. And we're just gonna, you can just easily line it up with the one in front of it, the flap in front of it. You're gonna take another one of these little in-between strips. You're gonna lay it right across and you're gonna sew. You're gonna do that. And you're gonna do that right till you get to the very end. So I'm just gonna do that quickly for you and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are at the very last piece. So I've done all of these. I'm just putting the very last one on like this, and I'm taking the end piece, which is a little bit bigger, and I'm just sandwiching it all in between. We're just getting that all done here. Last seam to sew on the front, and the top is done. That's how quick it goes together. Okay, and we are done the top. And this is what it looks like. You've got the little flaps like this, and this is the back. That's what that looks like. So as you can see, the front and the back are a little bit longer, and when you put it on top of this square, the back piece, it actually is going to fit it. It becomes like a 5-inch square. And what we're going to do is we are going to stitch all around the square, just leaving a small opening either on the top or the bottom. Don't do it on the side because it'll be too hard. Just on the top or the bottom, leave enough of an opening so that you'll be able to turn it around when we're finished sewing it, because then we need to stuff it. So let's do that now. So a little thing that I like to do when I sew around an entire project like this, like a pillowcase or something like this, where I have to turn it around inside out, I like to stitch right to the very end, almost off to the fabric, and then I'll back stitch enough just to get back into the seam allowance again, and then I'll rotate the square and I'll back stitch, so then I go back to the edge of the fabric again, and then back down, and then do the whole thing all the way around like that. This way it just lets it have a little bit of a more, the corners are just a little bit tighter. They're a little bit, nothing's gonna break open there. I always just have that fear of that. So that's just something I do. Now, because I'm going against the fabric openings here, I'm gonna have to maybe just lift up my presser foot a little bit so the fabric will glide evenly underneath. The other side, it was going with the flow, so I didn't need to lift up the presser foot. It was just gonna catch all properly. Okay, so I have stitched all the way around now, and as you can see, so I've just left this little bit of opening right there in between my two fingers right there. So just before I turn it around now, I want to clip the corners, because again, when I turn it around inside out, it will just make those corners a little bit sharper, a little more prominent. So I'm just clipping those right now. And then I am going to turn it around. So now we're going to just turn it the right side out. This is where it gets a little finicky. There we go. Okay. And look, there is the little flaps. I'm just going to, again, turn the corners and make them a little more pointy because I like my corners pointy. I like them as pointy as they can get. Oops. And there we go. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my iron and I'm going to press the edges a little bit, as well as this seam allowance of the opening, so that I'm going to stitch it with machine. You can hand stitch it if you like. Personally, I don't like hand stitching, so I do as much as by machine as I possibly can. So I just folded it in there, and I'm going to press it closed. And I'm just gonna give the whole thing a little press. I'll do it from the back as well. Okay, so here's what it looks like. So we are almost done. See how fast that was? That like took no time at all. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to fill it. And you've probably seen my rice here. This is what I use for filling. If I make something like this, I usually, because you need it weighted. You don't want it to just be stuffing from like a pillow or something, because then it'll just like fall off. You want it nice and sturdy and heavy and weighted. So I am going to pour, it's about 3/4 of a cup you'll need to fill this. So I'm gonna got my measuring cup here, and just fill that there. And say, teensy bit over, not a big deal. Get yourself a funnel. If you have a funnel, this will help you. You can even make one out of paper, a paper funnel. That would work too. You definitely just don't want to be, you know, you probably could pour it. I prefer a funnel because I'm clumsy. I'm just going to tell you, I'm clumsy, and it will probably end up all over the place. So I'm just going to pour it in the funnel like this and just shake it a little so it all gets down there. Some loose stragglers. There we go. Okay, so it is almost to the top. It's not, I do have enough. See, it's right to about there. So I have this much here to get under my presser feet. You want to be really careful when you're sewing, when you're stuffing something with rice, because you don't want your needle to get, you don't want it to try and penetrate when the rice is there. First of all, it's going to get in your machine and it'll probably screw up your machine, but you could most definitely break a needle. Rice will do that for you. Personally, it's never happened to me. I know it's happened to other people, but I'm always super careful. So just push the rice down as far as it can go. I'm just going to take it to the machine here, and I'm just going to sew 1/8 of an inch away from the edge to close up that seam. Okay, and there, and then you can just like push it out like that. And there is my little Wonder Clip cushion. I just put all my little Wonder Clips on there as I'm sewing. I love it. I keep it one by my sewing machine at all times. There you go. It is really a cool thing that you didn't know you needed until you have one. Trust me. So I hope you have fun watching this tutorial. I hope you make one, and I would love to, answer any questions you have, or if you have any comments. If you want me to make a video of something else specifically, let me know. Let me know, and I will be happy to do that for you. Thank you for watching.